Sup everyone, Darkscream217 here. With me is a special guest, Multifire.
Hey everyone.
And today we're just going to talk about some first impressions of anime we saw this year. I'm going to talk about some recent stuff, and Multifire is just going to talk about some old stuff he picked up. Um, the first show I want to talk about is Cat Shit 1, which I don't think it was it's not an anime, but it's like based off of a manga. It's actually a CG film. And to me, it's like the funniest, most action-packed film uh, regarding a war setting, because all in the war, like the Americans are cute little fluffy bunnies. The Arabians are camels. That's it. And they're trying to be serious with that CG movie, but they end up like looking. It's just funny because when you see a rabbit running away with its arms tied with his feet or arms tied behind his back, they stand on twos, and a camel shoots in the back in slow motion. I just bust out laughing. That was like in the trailer. It was fun. It was action packed, and I think it was going to get licensed. I think it's going to be released on DVD and Blu-ray this month, or maybe I'm off. But I heard they licensed it, hence why you probably can't find the trailer anywhere now. All right. So what do you want to talk about, Multifire? What's the first thing you want to talk about?
Well, I'm going to talk about one new thing I picked up this year that I'm watching. It's Heaven's Lost Property.
Also known as Sora no Otoshimono. I actually did see like the first three episodes of it.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining. Like, the best part about it is it's one of those things where the dude, it starts off like Deers, and I almost turned it off because it starts off like Deers. So dude,
Yeah.
like, falls from the sky, and she's like, I want to be your slave. But he just freaks out and starts running away from her, all like, oh no, this is trouble. But he ends up having to save her, and she ends up being able to like kind of do that I Dream of Genie thing where she can grant his wishes, and so he goes mad with power. So one of the first things he does is freeze time and touch everyone's breasts and run around naked in the city. Yeah, it's a fucked up show, and that's one of the shows that I highly recommended. I've been enjoying so far. So yeah.
All right. Second thing I saw, it's not really a first impression because this was a motion picture, but for months my friend keeps egging me to see this Studio 4C animation called Mind Game, and I've been reluctant to do so because of my abilities to care. But I finally like cave in and decide to see it because at first I thought the film was just going to be one of those acid trip imagery films.
That's what I
And
thought.
and it still is, but it actually does have plot, characters, and themes into it. There, which when you see acid trip imagery films, you don't get most of that, not very often. And even then, it's like very complex. Like it's about this guy, this like loser who wants to be a comic book artist named Nishi, and he and this girl he's interested in named Mion, like they were just having a regular day until some disgruntled soccer player slash yakuza thug showed up at a restaurant bar, and he started like cause a very violent tantrum, pulled out a gun, and he actually shoots Nishi like up, like he actually, I can't describe how he shoots him in the head, but it's really painful and graphic. If you find the trailer to this anime, you'll see it. And then he gets killed. He sees like his death like played back to him, even though he's trying to avoid it. So it proves that God's a douchebag. And speaking of God,
Yeah.
he kind of like changes like images and designs every 5 seconds, and sometimes he'll change voices. But my favorite line of dialogue from God is when Nishi asked if he was dead, and and in the next cut, he was like some squirrely strike dude, and he says, "Yes." Well, Nishi manages to come back to life. He grabs the gun with his ass cheeks, takes it from the soccer
Jesus.
player, and kills him. And then he runs away with the girl, with Mion and some other girl. And then they get into this weird chase scene. And then they eventually get eaten up by a whale, and they actually end up living in the whale for quite some time, with this old guy who kind of had made a lot of wrong choices in his life. And basically there are some interesting themes about life and change and whatnot. And the ending is a little bit on the ambiguous side. I really did not understand the ending because it looks like they hit a reset button. Spoiler alert, I'm sorry. But at the same time, I don't think they did. I really couldn't tell.
Wow.
And the art style is actually interesting. It looks very simplistic but kind of fluid. And then sometimes they would actually have like cell shaded like live action stop motion characters like in places in certain cuts. Like Nishi would look like a regular Japanese person, and some other cuts he'll look like an anime character. And it has like one of the best sex scenes I've seen in animation. It was the trippiest sex scene I've ever seen. So yeah, I give it a recommendation for those who haven't seen it. Uh, give it a chance.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be trying to watch that. I've been meaning to watch that, but I forgot about it.
Okay, what's the next show on your list?
I just picked up Full Metal Panic. I'm a huge mecha nerd, and Full Metal Panic surprised me because normally when you have a mecha show, there's mechas blowing each other up every 5 seconds, but Full Metal Panic isn't like that. They actually, when they do get in their robots, they're usually doing something unimportant, and then you rarely see the robots. It's mainly just about, and this is like, I haven't watched the full first season yet. I'm just like 8 episodes in. It's basically about this group of people who pilot mechas who've been mercenaries since they were like little
Yeah,
kids.
they're called the Mithril.
Yeah. And what happens is he ends up having to go in and
Sosuke
this,
Sagura, main character.
yeah. And he, I'm not good with Japanese names. It takes me a while to memorize the
Well,
main
anyway,
character.
apparently he was given an assignment as
Yeah.
an undercover high school student to bodyguard this girl named Kanami Chidori. And
Yeah.
the thing is, Sosuke Sagura, he's an intelligent man, but when it comes like he's good at military tactics and everything, but when it comes to the real world, he's fucking screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't know anything about what he's doing.
He
In
brings a
fact, there's
rifle first day of school.
yeah, and the teacher gets off because the teacher thinks it's a toy, which would never fly in today's world. Um, but one of the first things that happens in the series is they lay out a bunch of stuff on a table. And it's like, this is what a high schooler has, and he picks up a condom. He's like, I don't get it. What do high schoolers need this for? And this chick's like, come on, don't play dumb with me. And he's like, well, I have used it a few times before. And she's like, oh, and he's like, yeah, I was lost in the forest. And did you know they could hold up to a liter of water?
So yeah,
They,
I have seen the whole first season. I've seen all of Famofu, but I never saw the second raid. Don't tell me
uh,
about the second raid because I might actually see it one day.
yeah, I do plan, after I finish this, I plan to move on to the other two seasons, the second raid and Fumofu. But yeah, that's definitely worth picking up.
I was gonna talk about Katana Gatari, but I've only saw like one episode and I really don't know much. But apparently a friend of mine told me that they would like make one episode per month and they would be like 60-minute long episodes. And I do like the art style. It's simplistic, but it has a very, very stylish, unique look to it. And the animation was okay, but they did spend a lot of time talking and trying to get the backstory fleshed out and everything. But my friends told me like when the show gets, when the show advances more and more, they actually focus more on action scenes and less on talkative dialogue. So far, it may be a good show, but I don't have anything else beyond that. Um, what do you got?
All right, well, I bought, not too long ago, I went to a discount store that sells used shit, and I managed to pick up the full first season. I mean, well, there's only one season, the full series of Gundam 0083 Stardust Memories. And it's one of my favorite mecha animes. It's got this very feel to it that like you have to go to battle and you have to beat the other side down and things like that, and there's betrayal and all sorts of shit. And it starts off like the normal Gundam anime. This dude,
Federation versus Xeon.
yeah, yeah, and Zeon wants to destroy the Federation, and it starts off with this dude just kind of chilling at his base, and then he comes across a Gundam, of course, and then he gets in it like an idiot, and then they decide, hey, this guy's pretty good. let's have him be our pilot instead of charging him for crimes. And that's basically how it begins, and it's an excellent series. Um, it's very worth watching because it's all about Xeon and how they've become this tiny little rebel group now, and they're destroyed, and they just don't want to let go. They don't want to say they lost, and so they're trying their hardest to destroy the Federation with like everything they have. And it's really entertaining and very dramatic. So I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I actually, that show was that was like the first Gundam show to be on Adult Swim. I remember seeing a couple episodes. Since it's been a while, my memory's lost. But I do love the first opening song to that series. I fucking love it. I even like the English version to it too. That's how much I like it. The next anime I want to talk about is The World God Only Knows, which I thought would be just a subpar to okay show. But when I saw more and more episodes of it, I was actually starting to like it more. Now, why would I be a little skeptical about it? Because it's about this dude who plays. His name is Keima Katsuragi, and he plays he plays dating sims on an imitation PSP. I forgot what he called it, a PFP or whatever. It's obviously a parody of a PSP. It's even designed like one. And he's this. If you look at the character, if you look at his design, in fact, I'll put a screen cap of what he looks like. He's got this pretentious aura to him. I mean, he's got nerdy glasses. He's got those narrow, slanted eyes. And he's got this fucking ascot, so he's got a little bit of a pretentious stigma about how life is and everything. Well, basically, one day, he accepts some contract to like capture loose souls of girls, and he teams up with this angelic. I don't know if she was an angel or oh wait, no, she's a demon. She's actually a demon from hell named Elsie, and Elsie. Being, of course, that this is this kind of show, she doesn't look or act anything like a fucking demon. She's just your typical Moe Blob character who her design is kind of weird and and it kind of reminds me of a Diet Oh My Goddess style.
Yeah.
But she's basically tells him to capture loose souls, and in order to do, and it's like found in individual women. And in order to do it, he has to get the women to fall in love with him. So he uses some of that fucking video game logic that he's been playing into the real world. Not a good idea.
Yeah.
And it does sound really stupid at first, but then eventually I grow to like the show. It's actually pretty funny. And I do like the main character's mother. The fact that she's like an ex-biker chick. She looks like a normal mom, but she has like an anger streak or whatever. She even like broke up. She even like divorced with her husband when she found out. Well, when Elsie showed up and said that she's Keima's sister in front of her. Funniest scene ever. And my favorite episode would have to be the one where he was playing this really buggy, glitched up dating sim game. Like this incomplete. No one was able to beat it on how buggy it was, and it was so funny because it just keeps it just keeps screwing up and whatever, and he eventually beats the game, but it crashes on him. It's funny. Yeah. So the show is pretty good, but I can't really recommend it to many people.
You definitely have to have an appreciation for dating sims. You have to have an open mind.
Well, by the way, I fucking hate, I can't even call those games. They're not games.
Yeah,
they're not.
They're novels. They're novels with a few choices thrown in to make you think it's a game.
They're basically digital. They're basically choose your own adventure books on a digital DVD.
Yeah. Basically what it is. Like, I don't know. They're the easiest things to program. If you got me an artist and he drew me a bunch of pictures and you sat me down and said program a dating sim, I could do it in a day.
Wow.
They're really easy.